So, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you might remember I featured Ninja Gaiden Ragebound in my most anticipated games video. Well, fast forward a few weeks later and it's finally out. And yeah, just like I thought, it's pretty damn good. Quick side note, all the gameplay in this video is from my streams on YouTube. I usually stream once a week on Friday evenings, but every now and then, like with this game, I might hop on during the week as well. So, if that sounds like your thing, feel free to subscribe and catch the action live. I'd love to have you. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is one of those games that feels like it was tailor-made for me. It's fast-paced, the movement and controls are buttery smooth, the boss fights are a blast, and the challenge is just right. And, as a plus, this game seems to be infinitely replayable, so that's awesome. This game is very fast-paced, and the controls and movement absolutely reflect that. You've got the usual stuff, running, jumping, but since you're playing as a ninja, there's a lot more going on to this game. You can scale vertical and horizontal walls, perform wall jumps Mega Man X style, dodge roll to avoid attacks, and most importantly, there's a mechanic called the guillotine boost. The guillotine boost is an air attack that, when it connects with an enemy, gives you an extra jump. Think of it like the Shovel Knight pogo mechanic. This move gets quite a lot of use throughout the entire game, and chaining it between multiple enemies and health pickups feels incredibly satisfying. What makes it even better is how versatile it is. The guillotine boost shows up in both combat and platforming sections, sometimes in both at the same time. This forces you to master it in different contexts. Combine all that with the game's fast ground movement and razor-sharp controls, and you've got yourself a movement system that's incredibly addicting to play, but also to master. Now, let's talk about combat. The developers behind this game also made the amazing Blasphemous, and you can definitely feel some of that DNA in this game's design. One of the core mechanics that really makes the combat stand out is the hypercharge. You build this powerful state in a couple of ways, either by sacrificing your own health, or by defeating specific enemies with colored auras. Blue aura enemies need to be taken out by Kenji, and purple ones by Kumori. That alone adds some serious split-second decision making to the chaos. The hypercharge is insanely strong, and something you rely on heavily if you want to succeed. When activated, it one-shots basically every enemy in the game, so naturally you want to use it, right? Or at least use it as much as possible. But that means incurring risks, managing your health, and being smart about who finishes which enemy, which, if you watch this channel, you already know what I'm going to say, which encourages the player to engage in the game. And, as you've probably seen from the gameplay on screen, sometimes the game just throws an absolute horde of enemies at you. I swear, it feels like a 2D Dynasty Warriors game sometimes. You might have also noticed that I mentioned two characters. That's because for most of the game, you're essentially controlling both people at once. Kenji is your main guy. He handles all the melee attacks as well as being the one doing all the running and jumping. But Kumori, on the other hand, through a series of, let's say, unfortunate events, is now permanently fused with his soul. She brings all the ranged attacks to the table, but her moves use a separate meter that you have to manage. That means juggling both attack types and making sure you don't blow through her meter becomes key to staying alive. While you mainly play as the both of them, there are small sections in most levels where you can directly control Kumori, and these sections always bring a challenge as they are very platform heavy. Some are mandatory and some are just for optional items. Either way, it's more Ninja Gaiden goodness. All of this turns every fight into a fast-paced balancing act. Aggressive play is absolutely rewarded, but this isn't the type of game where you can just button mash your way through. In a way, it kind of feels like the 3D Ninja Gaiden games now that I think about it. Hint hint, nudge nudge. Now, no action game is complete without great boss battles. And I'm happy to report that the bosses in Ragebound are fantastic. Each one brings a unique twist that pushes your understanding of the game's mechanics. Whether it's tight spacing, unpredictable patterns, or enemies that flood the screen. These fights demand focus, timing, and full control over both Kenji and Kumori. You can't rely on just brute force, you have to manage your positioning, meter, and when to activate the hypercharge. As with most of the game, hypercharge is the star of the show in these bosses, because the hypercharge actually stuns bosses, leaving them open to massive amounts of damage. And, like I said before, there are two ways of activating hypercharge, and depending on the situation, you may have to make quick decisions. Basically, the bosses in this game, as with most action games, are the highlight and definitely some of the best bosses I've faced in a 2D platformer this year. Not that there's really much competition in that category. When it comes to games I really enjoy games that can be infinitely replayed basically. Like your Sonics, your Metroids, Resident Evil, things of that nature. I feel like being able to really sink my teeth in and play games multiple times even after I beat it is a signifier of quality. Thankfully, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound feels like it was designed with that mentality in mind, with that replayability, and specifically with a speedrunner's mindset. The level design, the combat, the ranking system, it all incentivizes you to play again and again to get that perfect run. The moment you finish a level, you're already thinking about how you could have done it faster, cleaner, and with fewer mistakes. At the end of every level, you're graded on your performance, and there's a constant pressure to move fast, stay sharp, and optimize every little movement. But even if you're not the speedrunning type, there's still a ton of content to chew on. Each level has collectibles hidden in tricky spots, some of which require pretty good mastery of the movement mechanics just to reach. There are also secret levels that offer their own set of unique challenges. Plus, there's also a shop where you can spend in-game currency to unlock new skills, modifiers, and tools that change how you approach each level. Some are pretty helpful, such as the one that lets you heal when you kill enemies above a 3-hit combo, or some that can even hinder you. But the ones that hinder you improve your ranking, so you're encouraged to replay the levels and try different builds. Put simply, the game wants you to come back to it, even after you've beaten it for the first time. And in my opinion, I think it's worth it to get the most out of the level design, mechanics, and the shop. So, once again, my taste in games has been vindicated by yet another incredibly fun game. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound does everything it sets out to do at a level of competency I would expect from the game kitchen. The levels are greatly designed, the combat is exhilarating, and with the aforementioned replayability, I think this game will have some real staying power over the years. I highly implore anyone watching this video to give this game a try. If you like 2D platformers, this game will make an excellent addition to your collection. And, as always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And feel free to catch one of my live streams where I cover games just like this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.